Okay, here we are. This is Kitty Boitnott of Boitnott Coaching, or Kitty at careermakeover.coachesconsole.com, or teachersintransition.com. And I want to welcome each of you who happen to be on right now as we're getting ready to start. And I'd love for you to sign in, let me know who you are, and I'm going to be keeping an eye on the chat box. And we will be getting started in just another second or two. What I need you to tell me, those of you who are in the room, can you see the screen with the opening slide of Jumpstart Your Job Search in 10 quote-unquote easy steps? And can you hear me okay? On my end, everything looks like it's working like it should. For you to tell me, you need to type into the chat box your name and just say yes and yes. So if you'll do that for me, I'd appreciate it. Now, I will tell you there's a little bit of a delay because we are on Webinar Jam, and there's just a delay. That's all there is to it. So I just need to know if you can hear me and see me. Now, I just did a double check of my connection, and I should be hardwired. So let me know, are you here? And can you please type in the chat box, can you hear me? And can you see the screen? And as you're doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and launch right in because, like I said, everything looks like it's working on my end. So we're going to be talking tonight about how to initiate a new job search or how to get a stuck job search unstuck. And I've created this program and called it Jumpstart Your Job Search in 10 quote-unquote easy steps. Because, let's face it, job search is not easy. It's never easy. It's hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's just hard. And it's complicated. And it's gotten more complicated over the course of the last few years. So I've offered this presentation and I've provided a guide that if you're interested, I'll be happy to send you for $10. It's a 94-page guide, but it's all about the 10 things you need to know if you are thinking about instigating or initiating a new job search, or if you are in a job search that's gotten stuck. All right, so I'm still waiting to see who's signed in. I'm not seeing any messages, but I'm plowing ahead in hopes that you're out there, whether you've signed in or not. So while you're listening to this presentation, do type into the chat box any questions that you may have. I'm a presentation of one. It's just me. I don't have anybody on the back end monitoring questions. So I'm going to be watching the chat box to see what questions you might have and what what I can be doing to make clarification if I need to as I go along. Do make note of the fact that you can find additional information about me and about this program on either of my two websites, Kitty at careermakeover.coachesconsole.com. You might want to make a note of that website, or teachersintransition.com. Hey, Beverly. Beverly, let me know, can you hear me and see me? Just say yes and yes, please. So I just want to make sure, since you've signed in, can you hear and see? Yes and yes. And when I say see, can you see the screen with the Jumpstart Your Job Search slide? And can you hear me okay? So I'm going to proceed. While I wait for Beverly to let me know, I can hear you, but I have to go to YouTube to see. That's fine. And you can toggle back and forth. That is something new. Just for those of you who may not be aware, this happened the last time. I am live streaming. So yes, Beverly can hear me and see me if she goes to YouTube. So please do feel free to toggle over to YouTube. Now that may mean that you'll have to wait until the end. If it's hard to toggle back and forth, you may not have the chat box. So make notes of questions that you have, and I'll be sure to offer plenty of time for questions and answers at the end of the presentation. Deal? So yeah, Webinar Jam has just recently gone to this live streaming deal on YouTube, which is fine as long as you can hear me and see me okay. So as I was saying, make note on the slide of the two websites. And also, if you hear something tonight that you would like to tweet, you can use my hashtag job search with Kitty Boitnott, and I can be found at Kitty Boitnott on Twitter. So what I want to say to you is, whoever's out there listening, whether you've signed in and told me that you're out there or not, you're in the right place if you can answer any of the following questions in the affirmative. So I want you to tell me if you can, and you may not be able to if you're toggling back and forth, but I'm going to assume that you are in one of three categories. So the first question is, are you ready to break out of your current job or career rut, but you need help because you don't know where to start? That may be where some of you are, and that's fine. Not everybody is an expert on. Now, Beverly, you're not supposed to see my face, so that's good. As long as you can see the slides, you're good. So are you ready to break free of your current job or career rut, but you need help because you don't know where to start? That's one question. If you can answer yes to that question, you are in the right place. Or have you been unemployed or underemployed for a while and you're ready to make a move, but you feel stuck and your job search isn't going anywhere and you don't know what you're doing wrong? So you need to get unstuck. If that's a yes, then you're in the right place. And finally, and this I know affects some people, are you bored or burnt out with your current job and ready to take charge of your career and your life once and for all? If the answer to that question is yes, then you're in the right place. And it may be that you will find yourself in a combination of those places, that you're ready to break out of a current job, that you've been unemployed, or that you're just bored or burnt out. It can be a combination of A and B, B and C, A and C. Wherever you happen to fall on the spectrum, Beverly says she's a C. Wherever you are in the right place tonight. So hang with me. I'm going to share with you my best information on the things you need to know about job search and how you can approach your job search more effectively with less time wasted and fewer resources wasted at the same time. So what I want you to know as you move into this program and as you move into whatever career transition you're planning on for yourself, you are the architect of your life and your career. You are not a victim of circumstance. You don't have to stay in a job you don't love. You don't have to feel tied to or stuck in a career that no longer serves you. You know, we live longer and longer lives. We are staying healthier longer, and we want to be productive and happy. And life is too short or too long, as the case may be, for you to persevere in a job that no longer makes you happy. You know, part of the reason that I do this work is that I was struck by a 2013 Gallup poll about the nature of the American worker. And the reason this particular poll really resonated for me was that at the time I was in the midst of my own job search and career transition. And here's what the poll said, that out of the group of Americans who were surveyed, 70% had responded that they either hated their job or they were totally disengaged because they were bored and no longer excited about the work or the career that they had undertaken. And a more recent survey has indicated that only 13% say they love their job. 13%. So what about the other 87%? What does that say about them? And I don't want to be part of that 87%, and I don't want you to be a part of that 87% either. So what do you do about it? Well, you can make the change that you want and need to make, but you have to know how and where to start. And that's where most of us are stuck right off the bat, right? We don't know what to do to get started. So I want you to shut out all of the distractions for the next few minutes. I'm going to be talking fast. I'm going to be giving you a lot of information. Turn off your phone. Turn off your mail so you won't be tempted to check your email while I'm talking. I want you to be taking notes. I want you to stick with me, and I want you to ask questions at the end so that you can get all of the information out of this presentation. I mean, you showed up. That tells me a lot about you on a Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. You showed up, so give yourself the gift of this time to learn what you need to know in order to move your life and your career forward. Tonight I'm going to be sharing with you 10 major considerations that I happen to believe are key to any successful job search or career transition based on information that I have learned over the course of the last 3.5 years since I started my own journey. As a former teacher and librarian, I completely reinvented and retold myself and made over my career a little over 3 years ago. That's how I know that what I'm sharing with you tonight works. So I was a teacher and librarian. I was president of the VEA. You may already know that about me, or that may be news to you, but that's not even as pertinent as what I do now, which is that I am a certified life coach, certified stress management and holistic wellness coach, a career transition and job search coach. I've written a book. In fact, I've written a couple now. I'm a professional speaker, and I own my own business. So after 3.5 years, this is what I know for sure. Once you have decided on the focus and direction that you want in your next career, your next chapter, if you will, the rest is straightforward. The problem is knowing what you want to do next, because most people don't know. I've met, out of hundreds of new clients and prospective clients, I've met 2 people who knew right off the bat what they wanted next in their career. Most people don't have a clue. They're very clear about what they do want, or don't want, but not nearly as clear about what they do want. And frankly, before you can even begin this journey, you have to decide, what do you want? You have to focus. So once you've decided on what it is that you want, you stay laser focused on that. And you have to gain clarity around what that looks like, what it will feel like, how it will be for you, so that you can begin to envision yourself somewhere other than where you are stuck right now. Most of us don't have that vivid an imagination. And it's hard for us to visualize something that isn't there yet. But I want to offer to you that you can't begin to reinvent yourself until you begin to accept the possibility that you can reinvent yourself. And that at the end of the day, you can do, be, or have whatever it is that you really want. But you have to decide, what is it that you really want? So things to think about. What do you really want? Is it financial security? Depending on where you are in your life, you may be more concerned about how much money your next job would pay as opposed to other factors. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with money. You should want financial security. But for some people, financial security is not as important as work-life balance. And I've run into an increasing number of millennial fathers who want to be home more with their children and less focused necessarily on a 12-hour, every day, 5 days a week job. They want more balance in their lives. They want to be full-time husbands. They want to be full-time fathers. So what you need in your life, I believe, is a job or a career that will cater to what you want and need, but also gets to the core of who you are. What are your talents? What are your natural aptitudes? What are the gifts and talents that you've been given that are unique to you? And what are your learning styles and work preferences? You may or may not know any of these things. So before you can begin a job search, you need to go on an exploration of yourself. You need to go within and internally check in with yourself to see what it is that you want to do moving forward. And whatever job you pick, whatever career path you may choose, there's certain basic human needs that you need to keep in mind. For example, you will not be happy in a job where you don't feel like you're respected. You will not be satisfied if you are in a position where you don't feel that you're a part of a group, that you're part of an effort that's bigger than you. You will not enjoy your life if you feel isolated and alone as part of your work environment. All of us want to be loved. All of us want to be appreciated. We need to feel safe and secure. Our physiological needs for shelter need to be taken into account, as well as other needs, food, water, basic needs. So all of these human needs are part and parcel of what you need to be looking for as you begin to reinvent yourself. And what I will tell you based on my own experience is that if you can pair together a career that matches your passion and what you believe in your heart is your purpose in life, then you will have really hit the perfect juxtaposition. That it is a beautiful thing when your career and your passion can actually come together. Now, there are ways for you to decide on what that new direction for yourself should be. But I'm not going to kid you. It's not going to happen overnight, especially if you feel particularly overwhelmed, not sure where to turn, confused maybe about what you can even be qualified to do. You know, a lot of my teacher clients will tell me, I've been teaching for 20 years. I don't know what else to do. Well, yeah, yes, you do. You've got lots of transferable skills, but you need to be able to present yourself as someone who isn't necessarily a quote unquote teacher, because corporations will pigeonhole you if you're not careful to repackage yourself. So it's a matter of repackaging and rebranding. You can decide on your new direction by using online assessments. There are lots of books that are available. You can use techniques like meditation and journaling, doing some deep reflection, getting in touch with what did your 5-year-old self want to be? Do you even remember? What did you want to be when you were a kid and someone probably told you you couldn't? Oh, you'll never make any money doing that. Oh, I don't think you should do that. There's no future in that. And you took their word for it, because why would they lie to you? And they weren't lying. That was what they believed. That was their reality. The new reality is that you can do whatever you want, as long as you want it badly enough. Now, I also recommend that you not forget about the career services that your college or university offers. Almost all of them have alumni career centers that you can take advantage of for free, so you should check those out. And then you can help yourself also by getting a career coach, an advisor, a counselor, someone who can work with you long enough to help you get the clarity that you need about what it is that you feel called to do next, and then how to lay out a strategy for getting you there. All of that is consideration number one, gaining the clarity and the focus that you need on what you want to do next. Until you've done that, you are not ready to write a resume. You're certainly not ready to have someone else write it for you, because if you can't tell a resume writer what it is that you want, how are they ever going to write a resume for you? Now, I've personally recommend that you learn how to write your own resume. That way you can update it as you need to. You can tweak it for every job that you're going to be applying for, which is what I highly recommend. And you can take control of your job strategy by being in charge of your own resume. But it's a tedious process to get it done, and you can't even begin until you've completed step or consideration number one. And then you have to be aware of all of the rules and the formats and the ways of going about writing a resume. And some of the rules need to be broken, and some of them need to be kept. And whatever you do, you need a good proofreader. You never, ever, 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 ever send off a resume that hasn't been read, proofread, to make sure that every aspect of the resume is perfect. Then you also need to consider your cover letter strategy. Most people screw this up. They think that a cover letter is "Dear Sir" or "Madam" or "To whom it may concern. Please find enclosed my job application and resume. I'm very interested in job number blah, blah, blah. You will see from my resume that I am blah, 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 yada, yada, ABC, 1, 2, 3. And you end up regurgitating in the cover letter everything that's in the resume. Those letters never get read. Those letters get tossed in the trash. You need a cover letter that's different from everybody else's. Dear Mr. Jones, I have always admired and respected the mission of Corporation XYZ, and I believe, based on my experience and expertise, that I would be an excellent candidate for the position of Executive Director or Chief Financial Officer or Administrative Assistant, whatever the job might be. And then you go on to talk more about problems you can solve, the pain you can cure. Not, my colleague Liz Ryan likes to call cover letters pain letters. But these are not your pain that these letters are about. They're about the company's pain. What pain can you address with your areas of expertise? So the cover letter also needs to be proofread. You cannot afford to send a cover letter or resume into the hiring manager, the recruiter, the executive director, the director of HR, whoever is receiving the information, if it's less than perfect. And by less than perfect, I mean it can't have any spelling errors, spacing errors, grammatical errors, punctuation errors. I heard a colleague of mine say one time, he was a former HR director, he's now a career coach. And what he said was that when he was an HR director, it was his job to call through the many, many applications that came through his office every time he posted a new job opening. And that it was his job to eliminate, and listen to this carefully, it was his job to eliminate the as many candidates as possible, as quickly as possible. As many candidates as possible, as quickly as possible. Beverly wants to see the keywords on the previous slide. There you go. Keywords are perfection for the resume and the cover letter. And my voice may have dropped because I leaned back, so let me see if that helps. I'll lean forward a little bit. So your cover letter and your resume has to be picture perfect. You have to make sure that there are no errors of any kind. So get someone who's a really good proofreader to proofread every single item that you send in. Consideration number 5, applicant tracking system. How many of you have even heard of the applicant tracking system? And even if you've heard of it, how many of you really understand it? This is also known as the ATS. The applicant tracking system is a software program that is used by large companies, corporations, and government agencies for culling through, sorting, and managing the hundreds of job applications that they receive on any given day. All right, hold on. Beverly wants me to go back before that. Oh, you don't need all of those. The main thing is to remember that you're writing for an objective. You're offering a pain letter. So the applicant tracking system, you need to understand that this mechanism is not your friend, that it is meant to help the HR director to more efficiently cull through and sort and manage all of the applications that they receive. But as far as you're concerned, it is not your friend. And in fact, because some of the software has gotten very outdated, the applicant tracking systems don't work like they used to. Now, here's some good news for people who like applicant tracking systems. They've been updated recently, and as corporations are migrating to the more up-to-date versions, they will work more easily and seamlessly, and they will perhaps be more intelligent about which applications they choose to forward on and which ones they choose to eliminate. The problem is that they're becoming sophisticated enough now that you only need, it used to be that you only needed to make sure you used a certain percentage of keywords in your resume to make the case that you're a good fit for a job description. Now, the newer applicant tracking systems are so sophisticated that they're actually reading the text in its context. And if you're not presenting experience that supports that you have the skills that go along with the keywords that you're offering, you may still be eliminated from the running. And that's a problem, so you need to be aware of it. Consideration number 6 is your personal and professional branding. Do you even have a brand that you're aware of? That question isn't, do you really have a brand? Of course you do. Everybody does. The real question is, are you aware of your personal and your professional brand? Have you been deliberate about creating a personal brand? Are you aware of how you show up in person or online? And as far as your online presence and your branding, this includes social media and it includes LinkedIn. So if you aren't aware of your footprint on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, any other, or Pinterest or Instagram, any of the other places where you might be hanging out as a social platform hobby, you need to become aware really fast. You need a LinkedIn profile. You cannot escape having that. Some people tell me, oh, I don't do Facebook and I don't understand Twitter. That's fine. You don't have to have either of those, except that if you're deliberately not using things because you're trying to hide out and not be visible on social media, a hiring manager might take that to be more suspicious than if he found a post here and there that might actually put you in a bad light. Not being able to find you online raises red flags. What are you, in the witness protection program? They might wonder. So most people have some sort of footprint on social media, but you have to have a LinkedIn profile. And one of the considerations for your job search is that before you even get started, you need to make sure that if you do have a Facebook, Twitter, or other social media platforms, clean them up. Make sure that they're squeaky clean, because you cannot afford a political post, a religious post that might indicate a religious intolerance of some sort, No, gender jokes, no jokes that might put a racial group or an ethnic group in a bad light. Employers just don't want to take a chance on people who are overly opinionated and have too strong an opinion about other people and who might demonstrate a lack of tolerance or a lack of an ability to get along with a variety of people. So be aware of that. I know it infringes on your First Amendment freedom of speech and your freedom to have an opinion about whatever you want to have an opinion about. But while you're in job search mode, you just need to be aware. You also need to know that you cannot sit behind your computer and apply for jobs all day and not get out and meet people by networking at a variety of places and in a variety of venues. There are stories that are created every single day by people who landed a job because they went to some sort of an event and they ran into the person who was able to introduce them to a decision maker who eventually decided to hire them. Perfect case in point. 2 years ago, a friend of mine was attending a job fair. She was there as a liaison and more of a helper than as a job seeker. She didn't expect that she would be able to find a job since she was an attorney, and she wasn't expecting to find attorneys who were looking to bring on new attorneys. But in her role as a hostess, so to speak, someone who was offering to bring waters and to give people a chance to go to the dining area to grab lunch, she struck up a conversation with one of the people at one of the tables, and one thing led to another, and they asked her, so what do you do? Well, I'm an attorney. And oh, really? Well, what kind of law do you practice? Well, I'm mostly contract law, but I'm really interested in this kind of law. I'm interested in branching out to that. Oh, really? Give me your resume. My husband works for, and she rattled off the name of the company, the law firm that her husband happened to be working for, and they happened to be looking for someone who could help them out with some of their caseload. Boom. She just made a meaningful connection at a networking event where she wasn't actually networking for herself, but you are networking every time you go out anywhere. So there's networking in person, and then there's networking online, and you need to do both well. Finally, the last consideration is, do you interview like a pro? Do you even know how to prepare for an interview? Most people don't. They have no clue as to what it is that they need to do moving forward. They do a cursory research of the company. They might or might not bother to learn the names of the people that they're about to interview with. They haven't done enough homework to be able to demonstrate that they understand the problems of the company or organization for which they are about to go to work, and they don't interview well as a result. If you take nothing else away from this presentation tonight, you need to be aware that in spite of the fact that the economy is improving, and that's the good news, many of the jobs that were lost as a result of the almost near depression that we plunged into in 2008 and 9, most of those jobs, if they're going to be replaced, they've now been replaced. Some of the industries have they've gone away forever, so you have to retool and reinvent yourself. But there are many jobs that are coming available, and companies are beginning to expand again. They're beginning to feel confident enough that this slow, painful recovery that we have been in is real and that it is going to continue. That does not eliminate, however, the fact that you are competing against a lot of really highly qualified candidates. People just as qualified, if not more qualified than you. So you have to make the case for why you're the best candidate. And that means you have to interview with everything that you have explaining why it is that you're the best candidate for the job. Now, here's a bonus consideration, and this one may be the hardest one of all. In order to be successful in any job search or any career change, you must adopt a good attitude. And that means you have to be willing to be positive every single day, even when you don't want to be, because nobody wants to be around a sad sack. Or remember the Winnie the Pooh series with Eeyore, the little donkey who, oh, woe is me, oh, nothing ever goes the way I want it to. I've met Eeyore job seekers. They're not fun. You've got to demonstrate a positive attitude, even in the face of rejection. And if you do this right, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be rejected. Lots. Because you'll be applying for things that are outside of your comfort zone. You'll be hoping to make the case that you're a good fit, even if the person on the other end of your resume doesn't agree with you. So you will be rejected. In the face of that rejection, you have to develop persistence and patience, the patience of a saint. I love this saying, patience is not the ability to wait, but the ability to keep a good attitude while waiting. And you cannot allow yourself to panic. You don't have the luxury of second guessing yourself or wondering if you've made the wrong decision to be doing this job search. You have to be confident in your ability to do this and your willingness to do whatever it takes to get you to the finish line. Now, I know it's a lot to juggle. You've got resumes, research, and interviews and salary negotiations. What do you do if they give you an offer, but it's not an offer that you can accept because it's much less in money, than you were hoping for? How do you counter? Do you counter? Should you counter? It depends. What I know for sure is that you cannot afford to give up because it's your life. And if you're miserable doing what you're doing now, or if you're in the midst of a job transition, staying unemployed is probably not an option, right? So you don't have the option of giving up. You have to keep moving forward. Because it is a complicated and sometimes even confusing proposition, it is something you may not be able to do alone, even though you might want to. You might just need some help. So, what I'm offering tonight is a $200 reduction on my premier signature program, Jumpstart Your Job Search, email and phone support program for 90 days. It's normally a $750 value. In fact, let me just be honest, it's really a $1,200 value. I have deliberately set the price at only $750 because I want to try to make it as affordable as possible. So I offer, for the regular price, I offer a 3-month payment, 6-month payment, 12-month payment to try to make it affordable for people who need it. But tonight, and this is only good for tonight, till midnight, I'm offering it for $550. That's a $200 discount off of the regular price. And why am I doing that? Because I want you to be able to take advantage of this program. It will save you time, money, energy, and effort over the long term. I know this for sure. I've added up all of the various components of the program. It is a $3,650 value. So at the $750 price, it's you would be getting a $2,975 savings. Tonight, the savings is more like $3,175. And it's only until midnight tonight. Tomorrow it goes back up to $750, or the 12-month plan, which is $75 a month. is a total of $900. Now here's what you get if you decide you're interested in this program. A self-paced online program that you receive all of and you receive lifetime access to immediately upon purchase. The 10 modules are very similar to what we've gone over tonight. Module 1, Lesson 1, is what is your number one challenge as a job seeker? Beverly asked, can you share this with others? I'd prefer that you not, unless you're going to share it tonight, because the price is only good for midnight tonight, and they won't really know what they're getting unless you're taking really good notes, Beverly. But if you feel strongly that someone would benefit from it and wants to take advantage of it tonight, yes, you can share it. And there will be a replay immediately after this, so you could share the replay with someone if you needed to. So Lesson 1 is all about your number one challenge as a job seeker, and in that module you will find a video, which is me talking about the number one challenge, along with recommended readings, recommended assignments. Some of the readings and assignments and assessments are free, and some of them are paid, which means you'd add on if you wanted one of the paid assessments. Recommended activities, including reflection, meditation, and a discussion form along with the Discover form. Module 2 or Lesson 2 is all about gaining more clarity around what you want in your next job or career. Again, there's a video of me with recommended reading and a discovery form. Lesson 3 is another tutorial on how to write a resume. This is based on a workshop that I did a few weeks ago for a group of mid-career job seekers who needed to know what they needed to learn in order to write an effective resume. It includes a list of resume do's and don'ts, along with free templates and examples that go along with the lesson. Lesson 4 includes a video tutorial about the importance of writing an effective cover letter, and it includes a template. Lesson 5 is a video tutorial about what you need to know about the applicant tracking system, with additional information beyond what I offered tonight. Lesson 6 is a video tutorial on how to create a personal brand that helps you find your next great opportunity. Lesson 6, several video tutorials that I'm offering on how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. And just as a reminder, I will be offering 2 weeks from tonight a free webinar on how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, in case you'd like to take advantage of that. Let me know if you think you'd be interested, and I'll send you the registration link. Lesson 8 is how to research and develop a marketing plan, including an example so that you can have a clear-cut strategy that you create around what you're going to be doing with regard to your job search, what companies you'd be researching, which companies you're going to be applying to. And Lesson 9 is all about how to create your social media and professional brand. And finally, Lesson 10 is a video about the importance of interview preparation. There's an additional article that I've included that based on information that I've offered through a LinkedIn post about the importance of developing patience, persistence, and a word about panic. And here's what you get in addition. There's a 90-day money-back guarantee. Oh, this particular slide is about the Courage, Risks, and Rewards program. That's an added bonus that goes along with this program if you purchase it tonight. It is the Courage, Risks, and Rewards program is a self-directed 5-module program that assists in helping to identify the risks and rewards of making certain changes in your life. It is an add-on to the program that you'll be purchasing, and it is an additional $300 value. As part of the program, you would receive unlimited email support, which includes you sending me questions, potential job postings, resumes, cover letters, and I will offer a video LinkedIn review with recommendations once you've completed your LinkedIn profile. You can email me as often as you need. I will respond within 48 hours, except maybe on weekends. If you send me an email on Friday at 5 o'clock, I may not get back to you until Monday. Otherwise, during the week, it'll probably be closer to 24 hours, but I want to make sure that I don't overpromise on this particular score, because I never know from day to day how many emails I might be receiving. So I'll respond within 48 hours. And in addition to unlimited email support, over the course of that 90 days, you also have 6 phone consultations that you can schedule during that 90-day period for the purpose of receiving coaching, support, interview practice, or whatever you need. At the beginning of the program, for example, you may need for us to spend a couple of sessions just talking through what it is that you think you want to do. And I can offer suggestions on how you might do some research and decide whether what you want to do is feasible and what all you would have to do in order to make it work. All of the content is available 24/7 for you to review anytime you want or need, and you receive lifetime access to the entire program, along with any bonuses that are added later. They're automatically yours. They're available for you to view on your desktop, your tablet, your iPad, or your smartphone. You would be added to a private Facebook group for support. You can work through the program, giving it a full 90 days. And if you can honestly tell me at the end of the 90 days, this program really did not meet my standards and I didn't learn anything new that I didn't already know, I will give you your money back. So for those of you who may not know me all that well and may be wondering what is it like to work with me, here is one particular testimonial. Julia happened to be one of my very first clients, and she found me on LinkedIn. She was thinking about what she wanted to do a few years down the road. She was very forward thinking, and she was curious as to what kind of advice I might offer as she moved forward into her next career. And I helped her gain the clarity that she wanted, and she was satisfied and has moved on to do exactly what it was that she wants to do. This is another one of my clients who I started working with him in April of 2015, and he and I worked together, and he's landed his new job on the West Coast, which is where he told me in our first conversation he wanted to land, and he is now working for Google. And so you can see here what he had to say about his experience in working with me. What I didn't know about Adam was that he had worked with other career coaches before me, and he was very happy with the work we did together. Oh, now this slide is incorrect. Usually this program is $750. Remember, I'm offering it for $550. So in case you're interested, I'm now going to put the offer up for a few minutes, and you can click on that add to cart button and get to the sales page if you think you'd be interested in the $550 deal. You can also copy and paste this link. It would be http:// and then bit.ly/2DQJ capital Z capital Y to get to this offer. So What questions do you have? I'm going to give you a second or two to either head on over to the cart or to write down this link. And then I'm going to go back over to the chat box and I'm going to see what kinds of questions you have. Okay? So here I go. So what questions do you have? Type them into the box and let me know. Let me know what questions you have. And I'll do my best to answer them to the best of my ability. Or did I answer all of your questions, maybe? I hope. And one more time, there's the link. So, questions? Comments? Remember that this $550 deal is only good for tonight. So it goes back to $750 tomorrow. And you may be wondering, well, why don't I give you more time than that? It's my understanding and my experience that when I get off of here, if you were interested in the program, you tend to lose interest pretty fast. And if I give you 24 or 48 hours, by the end of the 24 or 48 hours, your sense of desire, if you will, for the program has faded to the point where you don't really care whether you buy it or not. If you really feel an urgency about getting this at the $550 price, then let me know. Thank you, Beverly. The comment from Beverly is that I did a good job of answering questions. I appreciate that. So if you have any more questions, do let me know. Now, if you are interested in the $550, but that's too steep for your pocketbook tonight, you let me know tonight. Email me at kittyboitnott@gmail.com, and I will see if I can work out a payment program for you, because I do want to make this affordable. And Beverly says, good, she's almost finished with her resume because she bought a different program and she will be sending it to me soon, and that's awesome. So, if there aren't any other questions, I'm going to assume that Beverly's right. I did a great job of answering people's questions for them. And I'll give you another minute or so and go back over to the offer for just a second. And let me know if you have any problems with the button, if you're choosing to take advantage of this tonight. And then I'll go back over to the chat box one more time. So another minute, and then we're going to move on. But thank you for being here. I really, I appreciate your showing up. This says a lot about your commitment to your own future, that you show up on a Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Good for you. Showing up, I've decided, is half of the ballgame. People who don't bother to show up are very often only halfway committed to making the change in their life that they say they want. And I know, based on my experience with working with hundreds of clients in the last 3.5 years, you will not make the change you want if you just sit around wishing and hoping for a change. You have to take steps yourself. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to be willing to take chances. You have to be willing to face rejection. You have to be willing to be persistent and to be determined that the change that you want for yourself is something that you can and deserve to have. Beverly says, I want to share it with a friend. Share the offer. Okay, that's perfect. Good. So Beverly, you can send this to her. You might want to send her the link. As soon as I sign off, you will have an email, I think, that will come to you with the replay link. And you can share the replay link with her and tell her that until midnight tonight, she has the option of purchasing at this low rate. And then it'll go, unless, now if she is really interested in it and wants to talk with me briefly first, tell her to call me tomorrow, and you've got my number. Tell her to call me. Now I'm offering a presentation in the morning, but I'll be available in the afternoon if she wants to call. So I'll work with her. If she's really interested, if this is something that resonates for her and she thinks she would benefit from it, and you think that she would be able to benefit from it, I will work with her through you to make it happen. Okay? Deal? All right, my friends. Thank you so much for being on tonight. I'm going to call it a night, and feel free to email me as a follow-up if you have additional questions or more clarification around the program that is available. Normally $750. Tonight only until midnight, $550. It's a deal. It's a bargain, I have to say. So on that note, I'm going to say good night and enjoy the rest of your evening. I hope to talk to you soon.